and welcome in this texture artist video about how to become a texture artist guy in the industry. So from my point of view, a texture artist is someone in between the model and the shading. So what you have to deliver is maps, textures, information for the look dev guy to be able to plug this in the shader, depending of the render software you're using, to get colors on the model. So the texture artist guy have to be in between photorealistic and stylized skills. So normally you're gonna have a good texture artist is able to paint and draw. You have a good 2D skill, so you can easily paint over models without projecting always textures. So there is many ways to texture, but you have to be able to do it by himself using brush and stuff like this. The result is to map this into the 3D object. So there is pipeline issues about what kind of format, resolutions, all the reference you're gonna use can be photo reference, painting reference, live reference, architecture reference, so all this kind of stuff. The library you're gonna have in the studio for you to be able to paint, but also maybe what you're gonna add, what you're gonna have in your same, always on the disk, very important to have your material, your texture. You can shoot yourself some texture, that's always a good stuff to do. When I do textures, I have already like a bank of thousands of images I take from different projects, different stuff I know it's gonna be useful. This kind of like ground, rocky shapes, skin textures, so all this stuff it's very useful to have on the disk. And this department is very connected, strongly connected to other departments. So you're gonna have a lot of back and forward about like, okay, maybe we need to change the model, maybe we need to change something. The guy from the look dev gonna say, oh, I need this information. Can you paint like a specular on some specific areas, like this kind of details, something you don't even know when you begin the texture process, but during the project, the production, you realize we need this texture. Even the compositing guy can say, oh, I need a mask or something for this, so we go back to the textures. So that something can happen a lot. Studios try to avoid this, but that's what happened. The main softwares used for that are Photoshop. Very important to master Photoshop for that. Substance and Mari. Personally, I use a lot of Substance because it's like a new wave. There is a lot of new content coming on Substance, and that's pretty cool. I used to use Mari before, but it's very taking a lot of resources on the computer, so it's very slow. And for me, in my personal use, I struggle to use this in my stuff, so I'm more into Substance and Photoshop now. I used to do mudbox painting too. I think it's cool because you have very, very easy access to layer map and to like this kind of fusion mode on the textures. That's really cool. Also, the main skills you're gonna have to develop is details. Like you have to be able to paint like the details, like the fingerprints, the dust, all this kind of stuff. It's very cool to add as deep as you can in texture. Depends of your time you have, obviously, but that's something needed on the texture artist spirit to push as much as you can in the painting. Proportion, shapes, colors, very important. Reaction to the light. Test your maps with some lights from some different environments, panorama, HDR, it's very important. And like every department, hitting the deadline. So you have to be smart into like, okay, I have a week to paint something, so you can decompose like, okay, the basic colors, and the very end you can add the final details. So go like big to small and small details, like kind of every department work like this. in the model. You kind of build big shapes and after add little stuff. Same for lighting, and you add like little lights, kind of add a bit. But you need a general like painting. Yeah, so on my mentoring program, the texture is something I really like focus on, because I used to do a lot of textures in production, and texture is super important in terms of it's gonna affect kind of everything after, and you can't lie with these textures. It's very like this information is here. You can tweak a lot after, but this is like the foundation of the color, of the light, of everything gonna happen after. So that's very important to master textures, and or just to know how to improve or change or create some cool textures for your models. So thanks for watching, and yeah, see you in the next video.